I'm worried. I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't be worried, but I am here to tell you that there is a massive community of people who are in the exact same boat as you, and also here to tell you that we were in a very similar situation, almost identical, in 2016. Obviously, a little bit different here, but it took 2 years again before Democrats delivered the biggest House victory in modern American history, and so there is a world in which 2 years from today we are sitting here celebrating Democrats retaking the House and retaking the Senate and delivering a repudiation to Trump and also offering a bulwark to his agenda. So I'm saying it's...
Hello, my lovely peaches. How are you? I am waiting to see Kamala secede. Don Lemon is streaming. Is that her coming out? No. So I'm gonna be... Wait, is somebody coming out?
Half the government has decided that foreign interference is fine if it benefits them.
Okay. All right, so I was gonna do it on TikTok. So I just processed the other video. I was going to do it on TikTok.
What do I see as a viable path to move us to a popular vote in this country instead of the Electoral College? I think that's the one silver lining that can come out of this. Maybe
I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and
say, we want
do it on my laptop.
Let's in fact move to a popular vote system instead of keep circling the same 7 states over and over and over and over again. And
then I'll make the video and put it on my YouTube channel so I can get the full screen. Also, I'm going to show Brian Tyler Cohen and some Don Lemon. Zoom in. So Don Lemon is showing it. Brian is showing it. I bet you some other people are too. That's my cute phone. Midas Touch, also streaming it. Okay.
I said sometimes you have to walk away from people. I said I was going to get to that. One of my team members, a young social media team members, a young guy who said, you know, here's what I just blocked or silenced or something all of my friends who were talking trash and they were gloating about it. He says, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna have to get rid of some friends. And I said, well, that happened to me in 2016, a longtime friend who became a really MAGA conspiracy theorist, almost like a QAnoner, but was you know, coming to our group chat or come to our events and just spout off all of this crazy talk. I had to let him go. So sometimes you have to do that when there's no recovery or redeeming qualities of people. And then sometimes maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back. It looks a bit sad. So they're entering. And they're those. So last night, what you're seeing right here where they're sitting, imagine you having that. Oh, there's Tim Walz and his wife entering right there, sitting on the front row. She's wearing a sweater that has the American flag. Tim Walz sitting down, looks a bit disappointed. I have to admit that he looks a bit sad. So they're entering, and there goes. So last night, what you're seeing right here where they're sitting, that was supposed to be the place for the VIP crowd. right? You see Janie Harrison, the chair of the DNC.
Disappointing, huh?
And others entering. There are the Walls, the Harris kids, Kamala Harris and her Doug Emhoff's kids entering. Her children by marriage and his biological children, they were entering there. But here's the Vice President of the United States. And we're going to listen in, and we'll be back on the other side of the Vice President. And we'll have a reaction from you. So stay tuned the whole time, and our regular Live at 5 show will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President Kamala Harris is walking out on the stage. She is smiling. And with big applause, big cheers at her alma mater, Howard University. So she appears, this is a tough thing to do. Really, really, really tough. And so I will mute as she makes her way and she starts speaking. And then I'm going to go and talk to my folks on TikTok about what's going on. So if you see my lips moving,
so let me say,
it just means that I'm talking to the folks on TikTok.
And I love you back.
So, Vice President of the United States, everyone.
I think I have this doubled
today. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much. To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support.
Screen recording.
To
She's
Governor
doing her
Walz
speech
and the
right
Walz
now.
family, I know your service to our nation will continue.
She's doing her concession speech.
And to my extraordinary team,
You poke
to
your
the
head and you can be in the video.
volunteers who gave so much of themselves,
Hello.
to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran and the way we ran it. Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now I know folks
I don't understand the crowd
experiencing a range of emotions right now.
disparity.
I get it.
Where did
But
those
we must
14 million people
accept
go?
the results of this election.
We saw her
Earlier
crowds.
today,
And we saw
I
his.
spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him
Boo.
that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
But we're gonna look into this shit, hopefully.
A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we
She
lose
can
an
run
election,
again.
we accept the results. That
Still want her to
principle,
be president.
as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, now what?
And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up. I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld. And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it. It is always worth it.
It's true.
To the young people who are watching, it is, I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen When anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
Oh, well.
You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. It's you. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
That was honestly a really, really beautiful concession speech by the Vice President of the United States. And there here's her husband, Doug Imhoff, meeting her on the stage, waving at the crowd. I think it's fair to say an adoring crowd, and a crowd who still really supports her and obviously respects and loves her on the campus of Howard University. And you heard her say HU right at the end of her speech as she was in closing. And, you know, Howard University, one of the sayings there, HU. And so as she walks off to Beyonce's Freedom, and hey, I imagine there, in some ways, I imagine this is a weight that is off of her shoulder. And that is not easy to do what she just did. Concession speeches are not easy, especially when, as we know, the polling and everything around showed that, hey, it was gaining momentum at the end. Those polls, a lot of them, obviously ended up not.
Well, I'm not happy with this outcome.
That exists to both sides and equate everything that Republicans do with everything that Democrats do. And so long as we rely on those people, on the New York Times and the CNNs of the world to deliver information to people, while Republicans rely on Steve Bannon and Fox News and OAN and Newsmax and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens and Jack Posobiec and the rest of these right-wing
there is
MAGA
Tim Walz
influencers
leaving. He
who
looks
have
very
way more
sad.
clout,
I think it just kind of shows on his face. More in 24 says, get Rhett. Paul's leaving. He looks very sad. I think it just kind of, and I think even women. Maureen Marpel says, great speech, inspiring. Thank you for your support, Maureen, as well. Your generous support of independent media. There is Tim Wall's leaving. He looks very sad. I think it just kind of shows on his face. More in 24 says, get rest, Madam VP. I agree, get rest. It was really, it was.
Well, I already did a video, me watching it last night unfold, my disbelief that it was actually going the way it was going. I'm still in disbelief that 14 million less Democrats voted and 5 million less Republicans voted, and yet somehow he won by 5 million, 8 million, like, I don't know, but sad. I'm glad she can keep smiling. She's still got work to do. I don't know. At this point, it just seems like he's going to get away with everything and then be emboldened and empowered to do more. So, pretty sad day. I really wish I had some encouraging words. I mean, I guess I could just say, just keep trying to be on the right side of history. Keep fighting in whatever way you can for justice and the right to pursue your happiness. I'm very, very disappointed, and I can't and won't hide that.
Get lovedreamingpeach.com.
So I just screen recorded a little bit of the first video I made from this morning, and I have like only 219 followers right now. I have like a teeny tiny page. I hardly ever get more than 200 views. 200 views is a lot for my channel, and I read somewhere that TikTok will often put a video out for 200 views just to like get it out there. So usually the first 200 views aren't even like a real thing, although I often get way less than that. But anyway, my point is that I did get a bunch of likes, but then also a bunch of gross comments and sore winners, no surprise. And, it's not a surprise that people who voted for hate, people who voted for misogyny, people who voted for xenophobia, people who voted for racism, people who voted for white supremacy, people who voted for a rapist, people who voted for a felon, people who voted against the prosecutor and for the criminal. Am I actually surprised that they take this as a chance to be more aggressive, to gloat further, to further more hatred, to be more abrasive, and to hit the streets and victimize people that they feel they're now justified? That's what terrifies me, that in 2016, we went through 4 years of hell where people didn't think that they had to wear the white hood. They thought, I can just go right out and I can openly show my white hood. And now they've just been given like a blowtorch. So I compiled about an hour's worth of the videos, the videos that I did last night, watching the election unfold, the videos I did this morning, waking up to those results, the videos I did, screen recording, just brief clips of different creators' opinions and reactions. And I've put that whole long video on my YouTube channel, Cat Love Dreaming Peach, and it's an hour and 7 minutes if you're interested. The first 10 minutes are a little bit shaky and the volume is not that great because I'm sitting like all the way over there. I was sitting over there and I was filming. But then I moved over to sit here at my desk and I figured out how to put it in my holder and zoom in so it gets better. But it's an authentic replication of what I experienced, what I was feeling, what I was thinking as it went down. And went down in flames. So, Brian Tyler Cohen is showing Kamala's gonna concede.
What the consequences for that mainstream media are going to be moving forward now that Trump will be president, and he's already threatened to revoke the licenses of CBS and ABC. So we'll see whether they think that was a good idea to both sides themselves into oblivion and equate everything that the right does with something that the left did. We'll see if that was a smart decision.
So it's 3:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Kamala's going to speak in about 11 minutes. I wish they would investigate. I wish they would look into, were there really 14 million less Democrats that voted? I mean, it just seems unbelievable. And 5 million less people, Republicans, voted. So like 19 million less people voted this time? I don't know. But, what I thought when Trump and his cronies questioned and doubted and denied that they lost, and they pushed forward and they did 60 plus court cases, and every single case came back, no. The only evidence of election fraud and election tampering was Trump. So Kamala's going to concede. Will they behind the scenes try to see if everything was on the up and up? Did 10 million votes go poof? Or is this country really that despicable? Maybe I'll pause this and I'll wait and see if she comes out and if I can capture a few minutes of what she's going to say. This is already at 6 minutes, so there's less than 4 minutes left if I want to go to the 10-minute mark. So it's 3:51 right now. All right, I'll see.
A pretty populist campaign. I mean, she had proposals that probably weren't on the front page 69 fucking times before the 2016
Nancy
election.
Pelosi in the crowd.
These people are not, that they're able to do it successfully.
I don't know if I
and
should
manipulate people and lie
just
about
let this
whatever it is they're
video
selling.
finish
But still,
and then start a
Democrats
fresh
pretend like,
one.
oh,
Maybe
we've
I'll
got the
do
New York
that.
Times, we've got CNN,
All
so
right,
it's fine.
I'm still waiting
And
for her to
it's
come
not.
out. So let's see.
At what point do we abandon the Democrats and start our own
4:09
party?
p.m.
I don't think that's the answer here.
They're getting ready.
We're not going to be able to do that. Starting a new party is organizing with.
All right, well, I'm going to just let this video process
the best way
and then
to organize
start a new
moving forward,
video. So
using
if you're
all of the
interested
resources
in
and
hearing what I have to
advantages that
say
a
or
new
listening
party
to
has,
Kamala through my
starting a different
video,
party would
I mean, she's
basically
going to be
just
live everywhere, so, but I'm
cede
going to be
everything to
listening.
Republicans.
So.
If you
Join
think
me.
the Democrats are
Morning after the election. And we lost. Democrats lost. Kamala Harris lost. Donald Trump won. Racism, misogyny, and xenophobia has won. Hate has won. Hatred has won. Going to my car. I think I left my coffee in here.
GetLoveDreamingPeach.com.
So I just processed the other video. I was going to do it
What do I
on
see as a viable
TikTok.
path? Maybe
I've decided I'm
Republicans will
just
look
going to
at
go
this
ahead and
say, we
do
won
it
the
on my
popular vote.
laptop.
Let's in fact move to a
And
popular vote
then
system
I
instead
will,
of states over and over and over and over again. And
then I'll make the video and put it on my YouTube channel so I can get the full screen. Also, I'm going to show Brian Tyler Cohen and some Don Lemon. Zoom in. So Don Lemon is showing it. Brian is showing it. I bet you some other people are too. That's my cute phone. Midas Touch. Also streaming it. Okay.
I said sometimes you have to walk away from people. I said I was going to get to that. One of my team members, a young social media team members, a young guy who said, you know, here's what I just blocked or silenced or something all of my friends who were talking trash and they were gloating about it. He says, I don't know, I felt like I'm going to have to get rid of some friends. And I said, well, that happened to me in 2016, a longtime friend who became a really MAGA conspiracy theorist, almost like a QAnoner, but coming to our group chat or come to our events and just spout off all of this crazy talk. I had to let him go. So sometimes you have to do that when there's no recovery or redeeming qualities of people. And then sometimes maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back.
All right, so I am listening and waiting, and like I said, I'm gonna do this over here on my laptop. So if you're interested in following along with me for my longer form content, and I don't only do this, this is like something I almost never do. I'm only doing this because it was the election, and now I'll probably go back to my regularly scheduled programming, which is talking about love, self-love, healing from trauma, from past trauma, healing from your unseen, unhealed wounds, learning to love yourself, learning to like yourself, and learning to tap into your own creativity, as well as true crime cases that interest me. For example, Karen Reed had she had an appellate argument today. Didn't look like it was going to go too well for her, but she was trying to get this panel of judges to ask the jurors if they had or had not come to a verdict, despite the fact that they said they didn't. But anyway, so I didn't do any videos on that. I just watched him talk about that today. I don't think that's going to go through. But so these are the kinds of things that I normally do, cases that interest me, and following along with them. So I'm going to let this video end. And like I said, if you want to watch the rest of this video, it'll be on my YouTube channel. Okay, see you, bye.
So let's get to some of the things let's go over the day, shall we? Let's go over the day. I think the big breaking news is, if we have that, do we have the breaking news about the Department of Justice? The Department of Justice, I'm not sure if we have a clip or full screen, but if not, if you do, put it up. But the Department of Justice has released, where is it? I think we have that soundbite.
It's not a surprise that these cases can't go forward when Donald Trump takes office. What's interesting here is that the DOJ is moving to end them even before he takes office, citing the long-standing DOJ policy that sitting presidents can't be prosecuted. And there was some thought that maybe Special Counsel Jack Smith was going to sprint through the finish line, was going to work up until the last day, force Trump to fire him, wait till a new attorney general was appointed. But that does not appear to be the thinking inside the department. The thinking is that these cases can't go forward. There's no reasonable prospect of getting to trial within the 3 months before Donald Trump takes office. These cases are mired in legal issues that would be appealed all the way to the Supreme Court had Donald Trump lost the election. So now that he's won the election, DOJ officials are thinking that, look, there's just no room to move in these cases. And so the sensible thing to do is to figure out a way to wind them down. And it may stem from Donald Trump's lawyers filing some kind of motion or making a request saying, in light of the DOJ policy, you need to drop these cases. Now, there are a few wrinkles here, one of which is that the classified documents case includes 2 other defendants who are not subject to that policy. And it's been dismissed, obviously, but that dismissal has been appealed. And the DOJ considers that ruling to be very bad law. They would like to be overturned. So that appeal may continue in some form. But the reality is that Donald Trump is not going to be a part of these cases. And what this means, I mean, we knew this, right? But just coming to grips with what this means intellectually is that Donald Trump is not likely to be held accountable on these very serious federal criminal charges that many people believe were worse than what Richard Nixon did or was accused of doing in Watergate. Now, there's no guarantee that Donald Trump would have been convicted at trial, but as Joyce Vance, our legal commentator, said to me this morning, what's not going to happen is he's not going to face a jury of his peers who would evaluate the evidence and render a verdict. It's going to be lost to history whether a jury would have found him guilty of these very serious crimes.
Okay, so there you go. Donald Trump. That's over. For all the federal cases, it is a done deal. Now, what I've been telling you, what you voted for that, okay? And let me tell you what this means if you voted for it. Now, I want you to imagine this, right? Because this is the law and order president, right? This is a law and order party. Now, imagine, I don't know, a black man, Hispanic man, anyone, all right, being brought up on charges, serious charges, or just, committed, this is to say, walked out on the street and committed some crimes. And then all of a sudden, somewhere behind the scenes, someone said, nope, we're not prosecuting them. We're getting rid of it. Imagine if it was some crime against your mother, your sister, or whatever, your family member.
Crying shame that Donald Trump will not be held accountable, especially as it pertains to the democracy cases. Now, the Fulton County case hasn't indicated it's going to wind down, but this is a big reason Trump wanted to be president. He knew there were so many mechanisms by which he could insulate himself from accountability. And with the federal cases, they're gone. And this is why Josiah, who I covered the election with last night, says a lot. Merrick Garland failed. The DOJ failed. Because even if you're a Trump supporter, couldn't we agree that the election interference trial should have gone to trial, or that case should have gone to trial before an election? But they dragged their feet because they're so afraid of being accused of the thing that they were already accused of even after dragging their feet, which was political bias, even though no president should be allowed to get away with what Trump is getting away with. He committed the greatest crime a president can against our democracy, which is trying to uproot it to keep himself in power. And the American people are rewarding him with more power after that. And some of that's because people like it. Some of it, I have to believe, is because people are misinformed. People were convinced that Harris was to blame for the very real pain that was either longstanding or exacerbated or caused by the pandemic era. We've seen globally, one of the warning signs that we talked about with Josiah last night was that it's an uphill climb for Harris because globally we're seeing this rejection of incumbents post-pandemic because there's all this pain.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I do have to go park the car, so I figured let me at least just do a few last thoughts while I park the car. So, as you saw, exactly what we all had thought, worried, and feared. If he wins, all those court cases against him will get dropped and he'll get off scot-free. He will be not indicted, not have to pay for what he did, no justice. And he's rewarded and empowered. So that's depressing. And here we go down the creaky stairs. Creaky door someone mentioned. I need oil, but the door is busted anyway. Well, it's only 5:30, dudes. Look at the frickin' how dark it is. This is ridiculous. Why we still have daylight savings time coming to an end? Like, we need to just keep it at the daylight savings time. You know, like it was literally getting dark at 6:30. And then they set the clocks back. And now it's, let's see. It's Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, the day after the election. It's 5:36 p.m. And it is almost pitch black. Let's see, I'm parking my car. Well, I don't know, to just finish up these last thoughts, we're gonna have to see what happens, you know. There were a lot of awful threats about terrible things that he intends to do, wants to do, but whether or not he's going to actually be able to do that, to mobilize the forces and the power and the control, and it's a very terrifying image that he's painted, him and all the people who voted for him and are on his side. It's just terrifying to know that this is what so many people want. Like Don Lemon was saying, this is what you voted for, not me. See the sun, the moon, I mean. This is not what I voted for. It's not what I wanted. Focus on the negative. We can focus on our 10 most hated things about this outcome. We can focus on all the awful nightmare situations and circumstances. And we should not Pollyanna into denial that this is real. But we need to be empowered, intelligent, and don't give up. Kamala is young, and there's still a great chance that she could still be president next time. And assuming that everything doesn't go to hell in a handbasket. All right, I'm gonna leave it there for real. See you next time in the next one. Oh, one last thing. I've noticed that some people are jumping ship. You know, no surprise. I mean, when you share your political stance, some people are gonna leave. But just like with anything in life, I'm gonna be true to myself. If you don't like that I'm a Kamala supporter, you can yeet yourself. I'm happy for you to do that. So when I see numbers going down, I know sometimes it's deleted accounts, old accounts, it's spam accounts, people who are like, I no longer am interested in this. People who are like, oh, I didn't know you supported that person. Sometimes it's people who disagree with me on a court case outcome. For example, I strongly believe that Karen Reed should not be allowed to question the jurors because it was dunsies. And this after the fact, after party, we changed our mind. Only, some of us did. Like, no, that's just not just. I don't believe that that's just. Tons of people thought that Beverly Cannoni, Judge Cannoni, was corrupt and biased. And I didn't think that at all. I thought she was very fair, a bit fed up, Then Hannah Gutierrez Reed, I didn't think that she wasn't guilty, but I didn't think she should go to jail for 18 months. A lot of people disagreed with me. She ended up doing the 18, well, she's doing it now. But then it came out that the prosecuting lawyer was really corrupt. And unfortunately, it didn't help her in her case. But, I felt vindicated, like I could suss that out. Anyway, the fact is that I'm here for justice and equality for all, except the MAGA. So, justice and equality for you too, but justice and equality, not circumventing justice, not impunity and immunity, the ability to do whatever you want without justice and, not getting held accountable. And this is the dichotomy, this is the dystopian reality, this is the double standard where certain people get to behave a certain way, do certain things, and other people have a very different standard applied to them. But we're going to do our best to keep keeping on. Keeping on.
Or misusing legal power to shield individual acts. Subverting justice refers to the act of undermining or distorting the legal system and processes to achieve a specific outcome, often one that serves personal or political interests. This concept typically involves manipulating laws, legal procedures, or authorities to obstruct, delay, or entirely bypass the proper course of justice. Acts that fall under subverting justice might include influencing witnesses, tampering with evidence, applying political pressure on judicial figures, or misusing legal power to shield individuals from accountability. It's a serious accusation because it undermines trust in the legal system and threatens the concept of equal justice. When justice is subverted, certain individuals or groups can become seemingly immune to legal consequences, which may erode public confidence and the legitimacy of legal institutions. The concept has been discussed in contexts ranging from political scandals to corporate cover-ups and can apply at various scales. From obstructing a single investigation to implementing policies that systematically protect certain interests over others.
At lovedreamingpeach.com.